Messy Healthy.
I'm Laura,
And I'm Claire.
and today we are going to talk about a very key emotion, and that is resentment. And I was just laughing to myself because the sun is streaming into this room, and I was just looking at myself on this video. And
For those of you who are listening.
yes, we're doing a video as well. And I was just looking at my face, and I actually look quite resentful because I'm frowning so hard because it's so bright. So yeah, I think we're going to roll with the resentful look.
And then you said something really funny. You went, I said, are you frowning because it's sunny? And you went, no, it's just a permanent mark on my face.
You've got to love your 30s. When frown lines don't go away.
Yeah, in a few months I'm going to miss my 30s. That's a whole other story for a whole other time. So anything to report?
Anything to report? Yes, I have a new t-shirt. So again, people who are watching the video can see my new t-shirt.
It says fabulous and feminist.
Yes, and this is because Balanced Wellness has joined the Fawcett Society.
We support the Fawcett Society who promote gender equality and lobby at Parliament for gender equality. So it felt like the right charity for us, and they also do quite a lot with domestic violence. So yeah.
Yeah.
And just to say that the Fawcett is called Fawcett because it's based. It has its roots back to Millicent Fawcett, who was one of the original suffragettes.
Oh, and the Suffragette movie's coming out.
Oh, it is coming out. Yeah.
I think mid-October.
Exciting.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
Any news to report your end?
Oh, news to report. I'm planning a big trip away.
Yes.
It's exciting. I'm planning a trip on my own. I'm planning on an adventure, an Antipodean adventure. So I'm just, that's in the back of my mind, kind of plane tickets and stuff. Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah, stuff going on. So, resentment.
Yeah. Back to my frown lines.
Do the face.
Okay, so what is resentment? Resentment is that stewy, angry feeling. The way I like to imagine resentment is it's like anger that hasn't been expressed, and it sits there and it stews like a swamp.
Oh, that's a really good analogy.
Thanks. How would you describe it?
Yeah, no. I describe it the same. It's backed up anger, and actually the passion of anger disappears from it, and it becomes much lower vibration, doesn't it? Because anger, actually, it is quite passionate, but resentment is just. It kind of sits there with like guilt and regret and shame. Yeah,
it's quite old and gacky.
Gacky, that's a great word to describe it. Gacky. So yeah, that's resentment.
Why would we feel resentment?
When we don't express our anger.
Yes, and when we don't express our needs.
Yes, so when we allow our boundaries to be railroaded over.
We do talk about boundaries hell of a lot, and boundaries is being able to recognise what we need in life and then being able to make the request to make it happen. And when we railroad over ourselves, when we don't listen to ourselves, when we give ourselves away, when we do things that we don't want to do, then this is where resentment can come from.
Definitely. And because resentment, suddenly got very bright. I'm to get out of the sun. Resentment doesn't have to be old anger, does it? It can be something like, for example, if I said, if something was happening, like even in the workplace, something was happening, and I go, I feel a bit resentful about that. It's not necessarily about that particular incident. It's about all of the other incidents before that feel familiar.
Yeah.
So it's just this familiarity of, I know I've been here before. That's resentment.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do we do with resentment?
Oh, that's a good question.
Oh, first of all, why is it important to clear resentment?
Because it doesn't go away.
It doesn't.
Because if you get resentful around something and you don't express it and you don't clear it, then resentment builds up in pretty much every area of your life.
It does.
And then you get resentful about work and children and families and it just feeds into everything. So
resentment also causes quite a lot of numbing strategies. So the odd glass of wine, chocolate, shopping, a whole load of different kind of self-sabotage strategies. And according to some metaphysical medicine models, the belief is also that resentment causes fungal growth. So it could be that, even if you resented your neighbour, you might get fungus growing on the wall next to their house. But, you know,
Ooh.
in terms of it can actually grow in your body too. So things like athlete's foot, thrush, candida, all of these kind of things can come because of resentment.
Yeah, absolutely. So it can express itself as a physical symptom. And I think that when resentment is not expressed or cleared, it can spread like a fungus between a relationship.
Oh, yeah.
And it can cause a relationship breakdown. So it is really important to deal with it. So the first thing is always to recognize that there is resentment, and it might be a demonstration of anger. It might be gritting your teeth when you're talking to someone, and just to identify that there is something that is making you resentful. Sitting down, figuring out what that is. And I usually sit down, and it's when I'm in that place where it's so easy for me to blame someone else for a situation. And if I can just pull my attention away from that person and bring it back to myself, what needs am I not having met? That is the biggest question I have around resentment. What is it that I actually want from this situation? What is it that I'm not asking for? And then, clearing the anger, giving it some space to actually, and how we like to clear anger is getting a pillow and a bat and just letting, that emotion come through. And then coming back into that situation a lot more clearer-headed and actually making the requests.
Yeah. So for me, the difficulty there is I don't always know what I want. All I know is that I have allowed myself to be railroaded over.
Yeah.
So for me, the first instance is to say, okay, this thing here isn't okay for me. I don't necessarily know what I need. But then the way that I move forward with that is, I can often ask for suggestions. And if I go, no, that's not right. So it's very easy for me to know when something doesn't feel right. I don't always know what I need.
What I really liked about what you just said there is often when we railroad over ourselves, we can describe it as someone did something to me, which is a really powerless place to be. And so if we can recognise that it is actually us that are in control of that situation, then we have the power to change it. So I really liked what you said there.
Thanks very much. So top tip for how to deal with resentment.
So like I just said, giving the anger some space to express itself, recognising what the needs are. And when it's in a relationship where there's resentment building up, one of the really gorgeous top tips that I like to use is something called appreciations, which is where you are able to appreciate what you bring to the relationship. So you take a couple of minutes and you tell the other person what you appreciate about yourself, and then what you appreciate about them, and then they do it as well. And if you're giving yourself the opportunity to express the resentment, identify it, and then you're looking at tools to be able to build the relationship again from a very different energy.
Yeah.
It's like appreciations is almost the opposite energy of resentment. Totally. It's recognizing the qualities in the other person and recognizing the qualities in yourself and what you bring to that relationship. I think that's...
Yeah, lovely.
What about you?
My top tip would be to really be clear in your communication with people. So, I love using the words in terms of boundaries. Yes, please. That's a very definite, I am fine with what's going on here. No, thank you is a very definite, I'm not fine. And something that I use a lot is, this isn't okay for me. So it's not necessarily that I need everything to stop, but it's like, this isn't okay for me. And it's like, what I'm saying is, I just need to put a pause on things and to figure out what needs to happen.
Lovely.
So this isn't okay for me.
That's a really good phrase to adopt.
I also use it a lot with my daughter. So it's not that I'm saying, you're being naughty. I can't bear labelling children as being naughty. We can do a whole thing on children, but I can't bear labelling children as being naughty or bad or anything. So I just say that this behaviour isn't okay with me.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's my top tip. That's your top tip on overcoming resentment.
Yeah. Lovely. That's it for today.
Yeah.
Thank you.